What's going on, guys? Good evening. Welcome aboard to our market recap of the week. We do this every week to talk about the trades that we did the week in terms of options, what we're seeing in the market, and previewing the next week as well with all news and stuff coming out, earnings. This is the place to be every Sunday. Depends on the day I do it. Sometimes I do it on Fridays, but turn on notifications if you haven't already for all the videos that we come out with here in our YouTube channel. Really do appreciate it. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs. It's going to take a little bit, but working away one at a time. All right. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. Back to the screen here. This is the Thinkorswim platform, TD Ameritrade. As you can see here, futures are open at the moment. Dow is down 56 points. The Nasdaq's down 42. S&P down about 0.19%, excuse me, and 2016 for the Russell 2000. So a little bit of a pullback this morning, this evening, excuse me, nothing really crazy. We had a mixed Friday. Thursday was being a big short squeeze day as we got from right around 49.50 on the S&P here to as high as 51.23, and most of that was NVIDIA. So let's go ahead and get started here with the S&P. I did a podcast earlier today on the Spotify app. If you guys are interested in listening to that, make sure to look up G.A.R Capital, GAR Capital podcast. Hope you subscribe. All right, so you can see a pretty beautiful channel textbook here on the S&P 500 futures. Got a couple of trend lines here that we can look for, kind of give us a little bit of a guide. And you can see we kind of rejected that top end of that channel, 51.31. The 4-hour chart kind of gives us a little bit more of an easier visual of these trend lines. Same here at the bottom, 5,008 seems to be that support at the current moment. If we're looking a channel within the channel, we did get close to breaking down. If you see back in January 18th, we wicked below it. But other than that, it's been pretty structured. And for the time being, I mean, you really can't fight the tape here. We did short twice last week with Tesla and Apple, and we got them, but it wasn't easy, let's just say. So, we're really fighting the trend there. And trading reversals is very delicate. Reversals meaning buying in a bear market, going long in a bear market, playing the bounces versus playing the dips in a bull market. It's just inverse that way. So at this point, really until we break above 5130, that'll give us a crack to 5200, maybe 5150, obviously shorter term. So we can use 5150 for the time being as our future resistance, sure. 5123 is the most recent high. The question being is that, are we going to get enough juice to get us that breakout? What's it going to take? We got most of the earnings in. NVIDIA's already done. We kind of know what the Fed's going to do. We're not going to expect a rate cut in March. CPI and PPI were a little hotter than expected, and the market still went higher. So NVIDIA is very important to this equation. We talked about that. Almost its own economy. And that thing absolutely went bananas. 13%, I believe. The only thing that concerns me here on NVIDIA is this candle, shooting star candle. This could be a potential reversal candle. 750, 747 is going to be a key level of support. That's the breakout level. And we have two gaps to fill, guys. One big one here from earnings, 689, and one here at 720. So I said this on the last podcast about us getting an opportunity on a pullback. We just haven't had that opportunity. So we just have to wait. So with that being said, 747 is going to be our near-term support. It's very expensive, very juice in terms of implied volatility moving forward. It's a stock that moves, so it's a little more on the expensive side. But it gives us a chance. I mean, the stock gives us a chance to trade AMD. And AMD we traded last week. We had the February 23rd 185 calls, and we filled them 16th. That was one of the L's of the week. Unfortunate, but what happened here, we take a look at the hourly. We got in on Friday on this break at 180.26. Tuesday, remember, short week. We fall. We bounce a little bit. Wednesday, we waited for earnings for NVIDIA, expecting us that if we went higher, AMD would go with it. It did. Got as high as 183.83 on Thursday. Pulled back. First thing in the morning, 183.75 on Friday. If we just crack that, we're in the money on our 185 calls. What happened? We fell. So ugly price action. Very unfortunate, but there is a way to trade this. Obviously, so the thing with this kind of chop is that you're gonna have to be very quick. So below 171.23, there's a gap to fill at 164.46. I'll be watching that very closely. Let's crack 182. If we do, 185 is inevitable at that point. We still have an upward trend. It's just this is all consolidation chop, and it's just been a kick in the ass, basically, trading it. So with that being said, we're going to go to the week. Apple hitting the money. AMD, I told everyone minus 49% if they wanted to get out ahead of NVDA earnings. It soared, and we got pullback at 184. Tesla, we got up to 100%, 40% gain. QQQ, we had puts as well. The 415s, they got as high as 25% ahead of NVIDIA earnings. Some took it. And then AMD, what was the other one here? Apple and Tesla were the winners. I put it in orange on AMD because it was technically a hedge and it did hit at least 25%. So it gave everyone an opportunity to trade it. So I want to pivot with that here. Let me go ahead and if I could switch here. Let's go ahead and go to, I'm going to go and bring up the NASDAQ here. And I want to pivot in this video to say something rather quickly. Oh, let me see. NQ, right? All right, guys. So what I want to say is that in regards to the signals that we have, at the end of the day, you're responsible really for what you're going to trade. Again, it's really just information that we're giving you. I am on the server every day on Discord. So, if you have certain questions about certain positions that you may have, long, short, calls, puts, fine. Feel free to ask me. That's kind of the idea, is to have you guys ask questions. You don't have to use the chat room if you want to have it a little more private in terms of personal opinions or personal trades that you may have and you don't kind of want to expose that to everybody or tell everybody. Shoot me a DM. I'm on the market blog. So there is a couple of bots out there, a couple of scam bots that may be asking you for crypto or personal information. That is not me. Again, I just answer questions based on what you want to talk about. So, we had a couple of those questions today regarding some stocks out there. And again, mixed week. We were 2 out of 4. QQQ was up 25%. If someone took that, great. Some did. AMD, I mean, just a tough one. We just pretty much went the whole route. And it's been a very mixed last couple of weeks. 250% weeks. Not the best. Short weeks are not the easiest, but this is where, we start finding our footing moving forward. So, it's not how, you start, it's how you finish. We started great this year in terms of January. February has been, back and forth, but we're going to find exactly what we're looking for. All we need is some momentum. So we know what we're doing. We're hitting the targets. That's the kind of the frustrating thing. Like AMD was right there. We had DAL calls from last week. If you guys want to take a look at the last week's video, they hit over the strike in the money. So we had the 41.5 calls, guys. It hit 42.39 literally a week later. So we're right there. It's just we need to get timing right or buy time. So moving forward, just keep in mind that if we're buying a little more time, and I've been kind of doing that with like DraftKings and BITO, again, that's going to make things a little easier on the stress side. Guys, chop happens. Remember last week with Tesla, where it just kind of just came back for us. This was last week on Monday, Tuesday, death, and then we soared. And we closed right here as a signal. I don't know why. That was my fault. I should have just held on to the analysis. And it's just the reality here, guys. Bull markets are not easy either, unless you have some momentum. And as of right now, and kind of running into the end of February, we're not at the end of the quarter yet. I kind of expect there's a slow melt up here in stocks. So, like for example, Nasdaq, it's just not going to be a straight green shot. The easy way to do it. It's just going to be a melt up, and that's something we have to prepare for. And with that being said, just take it step by step, guys. Any trade that I send in terms of the signal group, at the end of the day, guys, you can make that decision for yourself. You can always ask through DM, hey, do you think this is a good one? Or I don't know, depending on my account size, just ask. Listen, if it was a good trade 5 seconds ago, it'd be a good trade 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, 20 minutes from now. Market moves, but we're not scalping either is the point. So just take your time. Again, we're here to help. You're going to have these kind of weeks, guys. This is just the way it goes. I've been doing this now over a quarter of my life, 10 years trading with GAR Capital, my company. That'll be in October of this year. Started in 2014. I have seen things you can't believe. Just crazy stuff out there. Crazy moves, tons of stocks that have popped, dropped, big bids, little big sell-offs, been there. Obviously, if you guys have been watching or been subscribers for a minute, through COVID, through different administrations, limit up, limit down, flash crashes, you name it, inflation, Fed, all of that. So you just get used to it over time. Remember, guys, it's all about the screen time. It's all about, taking your time. So I don't want anyone to get FOMO in terms of NVIDIA. There's always another bus, guys. And it's our job to make sure you find the right one so you can fish and make the money that you guys want. All right. So that's where we are for the week. This past week, again, very mixed. Let's go ahead and see what we have in terms of the week. Next week. Here we go. We're going to go to earnings calendar. Here's our Discord server. Mara reports this week. I didn't put Mara on our watch list this week because just for the fact that, it is a Bitcoin proxy, but I think BITO, which is the Bitcoin ETF, would be an easier trade and a better trade. So again, we've traded Mara a lot. Doesn't mean I'm against trading Mara. We'll take a look at that chart here in a second, but they do report this week. We know how much people have traded that name. Wednesday after the close. We also have Snowflake, Salesforce, AMC. Remember that name? Baidu is the Chinese company. We have Zoom on Monday after the bell. Domino's reports first thing in the morning. On Monday, Norwegian. On Tuesday, AutoZone. Lowe's, remember Home Depot reported and they pulled back slightly. Let's see if Lowe's has anything for us. Maybe they raised dividend. Macy's, maybe some news on a shakeup at management, possibly, or a sale. Who knows? Let's see anything else. Advanced Auto Parts, rather discretionary. Really nothing here that stands out. We're like, oh, I can't wait to trade that. We kind of got those mega caps out of the way. So again, we'll keep an eye on, here and there, what's out there, what's going to be the big mover. Best Buy could be one of them because that's retail. In terms of economic data, nothing really stands out. Like, oh, I can't wait for that either. We're just going to come up to the end of the week. That's end of the month, excuse me. What a quick February. New home sales on Monday. We have durable goods on Tuesday. I don't think that's a market mover. GDP preliminary, that'll be rather important. Again, that's pre-market on Wednesday. Core PCE, that's the inflationary reading from the Fed. That includes rents. I don't think that's such a big deal since the last time we had the CPI and PPI number. I said this on the podcast as well. You're not going to expect much because it was already hot and we already had the response from it where the market pulled back. And I think the inflation story it's a story. I think the valuations of the market is a bigger story. Since we're in a bull cycle, the idea is we're comparing it, like NVIDIA to like Cisco and Intel back in the dot-com bubble. So we're starting to get that kind of comparisons to the 90s dot-com bubble in terms of valuations. Since inflation is rather tapered off, we got a little bit of a hotter reading last month, as we know. So I expect PCE to be elevated and priced in for the market. So even if it was hot than expected, I don't think the market's going to make too much of a fuss. The big thing really here, guys, labor, unemployment claims. And so far, so good. It still stayed down in terms of demand. So that's a good sign. If that deviates or there's any big change, that's going to affect the market, in my opinion. And ISM manufacturing PMI, again, guys, that's just a survey. And the revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Okay, that might be a big one. And so far, so good. What do we talk about when it comes to consumer sentiment, guys? It's gas prices. So if gas prices are down, people feel good about themselves. It's just how it goes. Let's go and chart Mara together. I also put the watch list up for our premium and masterclass members. Let's go to Mara here. We got a possible double top here at around the 30, 31 area. Got a gap to fill here at 21.65. I fully expect that calls inputs are going to be juiced with IV, implied volatility, just because of their earnings. So you're going to be paying more than you have to trade this name to get exposure to Bitcoin. BITO, man. I would say that's your best bet. We've traded it already. We buy some time, break 25.17. Who knows if we gap up tomorrow with Bitcoin, but we could see a nice move in futures. Ethereum's above 3,100, near 3,200 now on the future side. Break above 25, we could start taking a look at 26, 27, maybe around 20, 28 or so. 30 would be the top, as we know, or the most recent highs. I don't think I want to buy those 30s unless we have some amazing volume, some unusual volume. I don't expect to trade that. Again, get me above around 26 or so. What is the alert here? Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, 25.17. We'll take a look. Obviously, volume based. We want to get something that we could sell rather quickly. And if we do, we're going to take a look at those calls. So I still like the Bitcoin story. I still like Bitcoin to keep going higher. We're getting a little bit more of a pullback here on NASDAQ, starting to get to some support. So keep an eye, futures traders. And again, it's a small, rather small support. It's nothing outrageous either. It's been very structured on the NASDAQ, as you can see. Within this channel, we haven't broken any major moving averages. Really, this here, about 17.9, kind of your midpoint. Maybe 17.8 is your midpoint. If that breaks 17.8, 786, that 100-day or 50-day looking to be support, I would say 17,787. So again, if you break 17.9 overnight, 17,782 would be my next target. You're still within this range, guys. Keep in mind, all we're doing is ping ponging. No real breakout as of yet. So every kind of move that we're looking at here is rather quick. So we just have to be quick with it when we're trading it. So, like I said, take your time. We're going to see if we can buy some time moving forward. I got a couple of trades I have open. Let's take a look at them. Tesla calls. I apologize. I just had a message on Discord. The Tesla March 1, 205 calls. My apologies. So we did get a breakout from this downward trend. The only issue I have is I think I'm worried we're going to run out of time. Just like Palantir. Palantir was the exact same setup where we had a downward channel, a downward trend line. We broke out of it, and now we're just chopping around. So in terms of support, you have 189.16 as your next support. But if you guys remember the last time we traded Tesla, we tried to salvage at the lows, and that was not smart. I held it personally, but the signals, that's on me. We're just going to hold this. We know how volatile this gets. And again, just going to use the technicals to give us the guidance. So as of right now on the daily, we're still above the 20-day moving average. The momentum is still higher. It was just Friday we got a pullback, unfortunately, on the name. And then Robinhood, this one I actually bought time. We bought it for March 15th. The 15 calls. That's our target right there, 15.26. And we already got the clean break here above 13.35. And you can see the daily 14.49 break above the highs. Robinhood going to that level is inevitable to me. That's where we're going, 15.26. So if the NASDAQ gives us a little more love this overnight, I fully expect Robinhood to hit on Monday. So that should start us off with a week. I really want to get a streak going. And the thing is that we're so close to the targets. We're right there. It's just we're running out of time. And I think the only way we mitigate that is if we buy some time. And that's really it. And if we could do that, team, I think better days are ahead. Better days are going to be ahead for our trading. Just kind of those, dog days of February. We had a short week last week. The week before was rather choppy. We'll do our best. I mean, we only made money this week in terms of the signals shorting. So maybe we get an opportunity to short as well. We'll see. Hard to short in a bull market, but we'll make it work. That's for sure. So, want to reiterate the point to just take your time. We got a full week this week. Let's end the month of February on a strong note and then use that momentum going into March so we can end the quarter on a really strong note. Definitely feel like a nice, streak coming, double-digit streak, a nice 12 to 13 win streak. If we can get that kind of momentum, we'll be hitting them. No problem. So the idea here, guys, is just to get momentum. Can we get some sustained movement? And if we do, we'll take advantage. And if we don't, we're going to stay patient. And that's it. So step by step, it starts tomorrow with the morning note. I'll see you guys on YouTube. Have a great rest of your evening. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment with your questions, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers all.